Welcome to this tarot reading for men. Before I get into the reading itself, just a brief introduction. I have started a tarot YouTube channel already like around 2 years and 3 months or something like that ago, but I deleted it and I also stopped doing tarot because I thought not that it was like entirely imaginary or something like that, like it has its truth to it. It's not completely superstitious, that's not what I mean. But sometimes it twists the truth and there's a lot of toxicity and danger in it sometimes, like the devil's inside of it. That's how it felt. And I'm a very spiritual person and I have a lot of visions. I'm also very psychic. I've always been this way, and actually I never needed tarot cards. If I'm supposed to receive a vision, I don't need any tarot cards. It was just some interesting stuff with this whole tarot thing that I got into like around 7 years ago. And I did it only for myself, and like 5 years later I started this tarot YouTube channel, and I even created my own tarot cards, which you can see here, but that's not the full thing. I'm going into this later. Like 2 years ago, I just had so many realizations about tarot, and I realized how dangerous it can be. Also spiritually, so I stopped it entirely, and also because now I'm going into my own cards. I designed 2 tarot decks, one oracle deck, and this one I called Duality Tarot, and I already could imagine how I want the package to look like. It contains 108 cards, and I even painted, or I drew, all the single images for each, all the motives for all these cards. And I also sent them to a publisher and it got rejected. And that was just another thing. I don't know why there were so many things about tarot that came together that made me really feel negative about tarot. So I dumped everything, and I also never played the cards for myself. For over a year, I didn't touch any tarot stuff. It was just recently that, like maybe 4 days ago, I started to remember all my old tarot readings that I was recording for this old YouTube channel that I deleted. And I suddenly realized that they all started to become true for me like more than 2 years later. And I did those zodiac readings. And even if the zodiac sign was not mine, all the readings, like more than 2 years later, completely started to resonate with me. Not all of them, but I have a feeling that soon there will be a point where all of them will resonate with me. And then I thought, okay, maybe I did all those readings for myself several years ago, and they were never meant to be uploaded somewhere. But then I had a feeling like, no, just try it again, just upload them again. Maybe it's just time now. And maybe someone else will need or want to hear that too. And it's a quite long intro, sorry. Another thing is that I've never been like completely into this astrology and zodiac stuff. When I had this YouTube channel some years ago, I did those zodiac sign readings. But I didn't trust or like it entirely because I'm just not an astrology person. But I wanted to have like some kind of order or structure in it. So I went with the flow, like because everyone is doing those zodiac readings. So if I'm continuing to post tarot on this channel, I'm not sure how I will proceed further. Maybe now and then I will do some zodiac readings. Maybe I will split it into other categories. I really have no clue, actually, to be honest, at the moment. But I felt like today I'm just gonna split it into men and women. Now this is a reading for men, but men could also watch the women's readings because maybe it could resonate with them indirectly. Like maybe you know a woman in your life who is going through what I'm talking about in the woman's channeling. I think that makes sense. So just let me get into the reading now. What I'm sensing is that there's something very general, like a very general life lesson you are going through at the moment very strongly, and that you have been going through for maybe several months or years. Just that several years or months ago you were not aware that you are going through all this stuff as a life lesson. It just probably all felt like a burden or like being fooled or tricked all the time. And you were probably wondering, why do I have to go through the same stuff and again and again? Why? Why is everything so repetitive? And you learned something from it, but then it happened again and you were wondering why. I thought I learned something from it, but it keeps on happening. And it's just very normal that our learning process often spirals, like kind of, because we are learning about things on deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper levels. And our energy system contains several layers and levels. So I'm trying to find a comparison. Like imagine you have a super fat, by the way, I'm German, so sometimes I lack some vocabularies. Just imagine you want to clean your stove, the oven. And you haven't cleaned it like for a long time, and there's a huge layer of dirt. And you can't, maybe you can take a big layer, you can chop it off, but then there will be another layer underneath it. And then you will have to take a sponge and scrub, and then you have to use, I don't know, whatever cleaning stuff you use. You will have to use different tools or sponges and different chemical stuff or natural stuff to get through all the layers until it's really clean. And when you have gotten rid of one layer, you feel like relieved, but then you realize, I still can see some spots here and there, and then from far away it almost looks really clean after a while, but when you look really close you can just find some spots that are really hard to scrap off. And I feel often that the spiritual process is like this. You peel off one layer, you entirely understood it, but then there's a deeper perspective on it as well. And then you have to go through this deeper and more complex perspective, and then you feel relief for a few days, and then an even deeper and more complex layer comes. So yes, that's what I feel is this reading about. And at the moment, I strongly feel it's regarding a friendship, or maybe several friendships, or an entire squad or friend circle with, reaching into, of course, family aspects, social aspects, regarding You know, we also have this more kind of distant social lives to colleagues, neighbors. It includes all that, this reading, but with a strict weight on friendships, or one friendship, one particular one. So there is something that feels like a relief, and it feels quite lightening that you are experiencing or are going to experience soon. Like a burden will be taken off, but you will still feel in the background there is something lingering around, like behind your back. Something is still trying to pull you down, or someone. Now there I see two things at once. This relief and this enlightening and brightening up of some dark topics. There is at once the realization that many of those fears were not entirely imagined. Some fears are justified, and sometimes we are being guided into realizing which people around us are dangerous for us. And sometimes we are not afraid of people of whom we should be afraid. So it is not always in our imagination, fear. Fear can be very helpful, necessary, but it can also be unnecessarily increased. Let's say you're very spiritual and you have a spiritual guidance, and your spiritual guidance is showing you that someone around you is energetically very dangerous to you and wishes bad things upon you. And you have really deep realizations. Cut off this person, and then you become paranoid that this person will want revenge on you and will come to your house and stab you, or I don't know, gossip a lot of lies about you, slander you, and then you will lose your job or your other friends, or you know, then we can go into imagination and exaggeration. But I think this reading is about telling you that you are protected by your guidance, and it just wanted you to realize something, but not go further any deeper into it, like exaggerating it, not bloating it up. Yes, this person probably was one of your worst enemies in several past lives, and in this life it wishes harm on you, or it can't be happy for you when something good happens. And maybe this, or most likely this person is very happy if something terrible happens to you. Maybe they even inwardly curse you, but they will not like stalk you or follow you and do some physical harm on you. And that's the point where also I often cannot stop myself anymore, and then I go into my imagination and imagine what kind of stuff this person will now continue to do to me after I cut them off, because I realized how they really are. So it has both those meanings. So probably recently you still felt this sense of loss, and you felt probably lonely and desperate and hopeless. But you are at the moment, or you will soon feel this relief that I have been talking about all the time. And you will soon go into the state of pretense. Now, this is also like a double thing I'm feeling here. Like, on one hand, you are pretending, because you feel this relief, but you also, in your subconscious, you're still stuck in the past a little bit, and you imagine that this person from the past will, at all costs, still try to be in your future and become aggressive or violent or, harmful to you. That this situation from the past will try to aggressively follow you. That's what you fear in your subconscious, while you already experience this relief. So you pretend in front of yourself sometimes that this negative stuff is not there anymore. You pretend to be fine while you feel in your subconscious something is still bothering you, despite having come into the light in some relief. Still this worry and fear that something, when you don't think of it and you feel calm, it suddenly stabs you in the back. This paranoid feeling. Pretense also points towards this other person or several people or this situation that you just cut off. Pretending to be bigger than it actually is. That's what fear often does, this unjustified fear that gets enhanced by our imagination. This can also be very pretentious, and you will have your realizations about that. What I wanted to mention all the time as well is that the person or several people or situation, no, it's not a situation, it's really strongly about certain people or a person. This person has or is some kind of negative force. And even if it on the physical level does no harm to you, there is some energetic manipulation going on. But even from that, you shall be protected by becoming aware of it and by becoming aware of how these things work. At the bottom of my deck, I had manipulation. Just as a, topic, a main topic to underline this whole reading. And this person that you chopped off, whether it was a friend or family member or a lover or whatever, or a colleague or, a neighbor, could be anyone. This person is not just unconscious or whatever people call that. This person is really energetically dangerous. It's just a bad entity. And it's manipulating energies. Okay? So, further on, despite this being a negative experience that you are slowly freeing yourself from, your guidance is revealing that the person being part of your life for a certain time, you knowing this person, you going through these experiences, is part of your destiny. Why is it part of your destiny? Because of wisdom. Because before you came into this current body that you're inside of now, you wanted to learn what you are learning now. You wanted to develop this capability of seeing things from all these deep, 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 deep and complex perceptions. Just some seconds, I have to feel into the next layer. This winter card, you know, I made these cards with seasons, and at the moment, because here I felt really sure about that it's not literally about spring as a month, as a season, sorry, but just as something blossoming and something renewing and something enlightening. But here with this winter card, I'm not sure at the moment if it's really regarding if it's a metaphor for winter or if it's literally about winter, because at the moment it is winter. Or to be honest, I don't know which date is today. It's January 2023. I think it's the 16th today. I'm not sure. Oh my God. What I also forgot to mention in the beginning, in the intro, is that because all my old tarot readings from over 2 years ago start to resonate with me now, but at the time I recorded them, I intended them to be for the, like, around 2 weeks later after I recorded them. But now we can see it took 2 years until they started to come true. So I decided that I will not do any monthly readings or for some strict limited time span. I will only do timeless readings. So I could record this in January 2023 and it starts to resonate with someone like in 2028 or something like that, you know. So I will probably just try to keep most of these structures away and just do timeless readings. And now this gave me an epiphany about this winter card, because winter, for me at least, it often feels quite timeless. In Germany I have a feeling winter is much longer than summer, and spring is always too long for my taste. And in winter we say everything is dying, but it's not dying. You know, the trees are not falling over, laying on the ground. They are still standing. They're just in a sort of winter sleep. Like most animals, many animals, at least in Germany. And if they're not in their winter sleep, they fly or wander into other parts of the world where it's warmer, which I would actually also like to do, but I can't afford it. There's something with this winter card that's just about this. There is not a complete death to something. There's just a standing still. It's also, it might feel like a stagnation, and we don't want to stagnate. We want to move forwards, but I actually have a stagnation card in this deck. So if this tarot reading wanted to tell me something about stagnation, I would have probably pulled the stagnation card. So it makes me think that winter is not about stagnation, it's just about waiting. But waiting also always has like expecting something. And I also don't feel this one from this winter card. It's just like a kind of accepting being in this state right now, where things are not entirely dead, still in a slumber, barely alive. And when the right time has come, it will also come to blossom, which leads us back to spring. Because I was mentioning earlier that you are afraid of this negative person still lurking around, being in a slumber, waiting to blossom, that's what I was not relating to. What I was relating to is because you're still in a kind of mixed inner state, you feel mainly this relief and enlightening energy, but in the background there is still this fear of the negative stuff. And as soon as you became wiser and you have fully learned and understood this whole energetic manipulation thing in its full complex, just the way it is, then the negative stuff will fade and everything will start to blossom, and it will, on one hand, lead you to a lot of honesty with yourself, honesty with others. Even if you are already honest with others, or you're trying to be, sometimes now and then we still unconsciously manipulate, especially if we deal with toxic people. And also very moralistic people can be toxic. Politically correct people can be toxic. Often in their past life they committed the most horrible crimes against other people, and now they want to play the moral apostle, and they often can't even live up to what they are preaching, like some priests or politicians or whatever. They make all those rules for others that they themselves are not following, and they keep scolding others and keep perceiving themselves as the ultimate altruistic good person, but they are so full of shit often. Maybe it's someone like that you cut off, and this person always made you feel guilty while you are naturally good-hearted. You don't even have to work on becoming a better person. You just have to work on cutting off the wrong people, realizing who is right and who is wrong for you, or in general even, I would say. And this situation often makes us a little bit dishonest, because sometimes we think someone is our friend and someone is probably a good person, but this person constantly scolds us about something. Like, let's just take a stupid example, like you are eating too much pizza. This person itself also eats a lot of pizza, but as these people who have zero self-reflection and always enjoy to scold other people, they are not aware of that, and they only see you eating a lot of pizza all the time. Don't you know that's so unhealthy, blah 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 blah. And then when you had a pizza and this person calls you, or you're still chewing your crunchy pizza, the person calls you and the person asks you, what are you eating? And you say, I'm having a crunchy carrot or something like that. And you actually want to have an honest relationship with yourself and others. But you knew this person for 15 years and it just keeps annoying you with certain topics, and then you start lying sometimes. Or you probably know what I mean. I'm not going into it any deeper now. So yeah, that's actually what this reading is about. There's a person that you cut off. You still feel a little bit negative about it. You don't feel this loss anymore. Or you're starting to get out of this energy. You're starting to get into the energy of relief, still with a slight paranoia in the background that something might shoot back at you, which is giving you realizations about how your imagination is bloating up things, also how your imagination actually, it could also point towards your imagination in that sense that your imagination made you have the wrong image of this toxic person all the time, that you thought they were a good person, but now you're realizing they are energetically and psychologically very manipulative. And them being a good person was also only in your imagination. Now you realize they are not good and they are very dangerous. You distance yourself from them, and now you're imagining that this person will in some way come back at you. Okay? But as I'm seeing, you will go through these several steps, and you will continue to learn your lessons and become wiser and wiser. Thank you for watching.